Quick question. Does anyone think that Queen Meteor should be heavier? Just me? Alright. Because a lot of the heavier machines are harder to handle, a lot of people tend to avoid building these types of machines. However, they actually can be pretty underrated. The Megalo Lizard V is one kind of machine like this. You can also build it without having to resort to cheat codes, but you will have to clear story mode on hard missions to obtain these parts. These are the Megalo Cruiser, Heat Snake, and Comet-V. And if you see that diagram, it's really not the whole story with this machine. Now, to really unlock the power of this machine, you have to understand how to use these machine settings. On courses like Drift Highway, you want more balance because it helps the shoulder buttons, which you need to master. And on Cosmo Terminal, max speed is better because you don't have to turn as much, but you will still need some measure of control, at least on certain parts. This machine tends to have an average top speed, but the acceleration is pretty good. And considering those stats, it should be pretty good. You're just one letter removed from having something equivalent to the Blue Falcon, at least in stats, not in the other areas. As soon as you start steering with this vehicle without using L or R, you're going to notice it feels a little stiff. It can still take the corner without needing to rely on side attacks depending on how wide the road is. But on Twist Road, this vehicle should be fine. It will take a long time to reach its top speed because it will be turning too much. But it can reach a decent top speed in the first lap. Boosting, on the other hand, is another story. A machine gets more loose when it's boosting at a higher speed. So ideally, you want to clamp down on the shoulder buttons and guide it, because it is still stiff without the shoulder buttons to help it. The good thing about the shoulder buttons though, is that if you can use them properly and take advantage of its speed retention, you'll get a machine that could sail around the course with a steady speed of about 1,500 km/h. In some cases, you can even go faster than that. It depends on the course, really. It shouldn't surprise you to know that this machine does well in combat. And because of that, it can be very helpful if you find this kind of turn impossible to deal with. You can just use spam attacks and ride on the balls for a little bit and not suffer that much, unless you're talking about speed, that is. You can make that back up with some dash blades, and then you get right back in there and start wasting every run you could see with this machine. Okay, that's not really necessary, but you know what I mean. Sadly, when it comes time to boost, you want to cut back on that as much as possible because you still need energy to boost. If you spend all of it just grinding on walls or chasing combat, this machine will be forced to rely on its natural top speed, which isn't nearly as impressive as other machines with stronger boosters. It's the booster with the speed retention that can carry this machine. You just need to have enough energy. The cockpit deserves some credit too. Even with the shoulder buttons and the boost, the cockpit makes it possible for it to handle such tight looking turns. Okay, so it's not exactly like Queen Meteor. Still, it's actually a pretty good machine. It just takes some level of mastery with heavier machines. So, one more time. This machine is actually underrated. It's heavy enough to make use of speed retention. It doesn't have to worry about taking too much damage from walls, but it's going to have a tough time with regular steering. Remember, if it feels like a boulder, it's time to use those shoulders.